I've put my name to a number of amendments, as Lord Paddock has read out, and he has largely explained my reservations and why I've put my name to, in this instance, amendments 19, 20 and 21. And this is the focus on what equipment is intended to be used for. I just think it's extraordinary that the bill would have the criminalisation of somebody holding equipment that might be used for something, that may be used for something. So completely innocent objects can be interpreted in the most malign way. And it does seem far too speculative. Everyone should remember that whilst we have in our minds locking on and Just Stop Oil, this is a piece of legislation that doesn't mention Just Stop Oil. And therefore, anything that speculates as to what people might be about to do with an object could be used to criminalise any range of behaviour. So I think that's one of my concerns there. It feels as though it's, as it were, rather than proactive policing, as the Minister discussed earlier, it's almost as though it allows people to be scooped up just in case they use any particular objects in a particular way. In the amendments 48 and 49, that focuses on the offence of being equipped for tunnelling and not requiring the object to be used by the person with the item specifically, but by any person, my concern here is that this puts into law, in a sense, a kind of guilt by association. That somebody has not committed a crime, there's no indication they've committed a crime, but somebody else has used an item that they had and then committed a crime. And it just reminds me of the worst of the joint enterprise laws that led to so many injustices for all involved, and I really would like to see that go. I mean, like the whole thing to go, but if we're going to have it, etc. And then just finally, on the Amendment 65, focusing on key national infrastructure. I have to say that this is one of the things which I think the public do most worry about, though, that key national infrastructure will be targeted by these kind of stunt protesters, as we've heard. Almost somebody described it as like guerrilla warfare. It does sometimes feel like that, because we all know how important key national infrastructure projects are to any country. That's why in Ukraine Russia targets them. You know that the maximum people will suffer if you attack those things which keep any country going at any given time. So I'm very keen that we protect them. But I do think that the wording, like everything, in terms of what extent they're attacked, the illustrations that Lord Paddock gave, which again, it's not just Stop Oil. We've got to keep getting that out of our minds, because this is anyone who does anything to possibly disrupt a key infrastructure project. But if I could rather echo in a glib way the comments made by the Noble Baroness Jones of Mulscombe earlier in relation to the NHS, I thought she had a point there. In this instance, when I was reading out the key national infrastructure, reading them, road transport infrastructure, rail infrastructure, air transport infrastructure, gas infrastructure, oil infrastructure, etc. So I thought, well, who needs Just Stop Oil? Right, most of that infrastructure doesn't work. I mean, I spend most of my time not being able to get trains. The energy system is in total crisis. And actually, if you want to know what's likely to create the greatest threat to most of the national infrastructure projects in the forthcoming months, I tell you what, it's not just Stop Oil, it's austerity cuts coming from the government. So although that's a slightly glib point, I think it indicates why just using these things in the law, if you're not precise about exactly what it is you describe as disruption, can get you into hot water.
My Lord, yes.